Hi everyone, and welcome to a new painting with me, or an art date with LilliBean Designs. Today I want to focus on one of my words of the year, which is gratitude. And so I want to do a post just inviting in gratitude, letting out gratitude, thinking about the things that I'm grateful for while I'm painting this. And this is going to be, I actually don't know how this is going to work. I'm not sure how I want to do it, but what I have done, I've got some scraps of little doodles I've done, butterfly, ticket. I end up with the weirdest scraps of paper. I have never ever been to Broomfield Holiday Park, but I have a ticket for it. So I've got some butterfly and dragonfly stickers, a spelling sheet page from my kids' spelling book, and a scrapbook page that I think might work nicely. And what I have actually done is printed out a black and white photo of myself. Now this photo was taken by one of my kids when we were at the Taylor Swift concert in Melbourne the other month, and I want to sort of invite in that feeling that I had then of just complete and utter awe and joy and gratitude that we actually got tickets in the Great War. And so I'm going to somehow mash it all together and create a page. I hope it could be, end up being a disaster. You may never see this video, but that's the whole point of art. It's playing and trying new things and yeah, getting it out there. As always, there'll be a supplies list, PDF that you can download, and also I have a supplies list that you should have gotten with your confirmation of purchase email. However, if you have not, there is a supplies list which I will include in the links below, of basic supplies that I use pretty much every time. So if you want to have them on hand, that'd be cool. If not, if you're not painting along, if you're just watching and supporting me, thank you very much. I appreciate everything. So working in my Moleskine there. I cannot pronounce it. One day I'll look it up. People pronounce it differently. Okay, so I have an idea that this is kind of going to go there. My picture is kind of going to go here. And then I'll just have some other stuff floating around. It's not going to be I don't know 100% how this is going to work, but we'll give it a go. I think I like sort of that rough feeling texture better. Maybe I should have ripped it. That's a small piece and that's what I want, so that's what I'm going to go with. And so I sort of want the straight edge to butt up against here, and then I'm just going to I'm going to do. Start. We'll see. I haven't. Problem with having no plan is that you end up with some really amazing. I haven't got my brushes. Some amazing paintings, but you kind of flounder for a little bit. And I'll try and maybe cut out as much of the floundering as I can, so you don't have to sit and listen to me waffle on about my choices and whether I like something or not. But who knows. Okay, so I've got my Mod Podge. You can use PVA glue, you can use a glue stick, it doesn't matter. And I've just got an old paintbrush. Spreading out the paint, the glue even. Make sure it's got a fairly good coverage. got my store card or an old bank card, or a piece of cardboard if you want, or you can use a roller if you've got a roller. But this needs a bit more paint. You need to glue even. You need to actually be quite liberal with the glue. And the problem is it's still quite warm here, so things are still going to dry super quick. But I particularly want the edges to stick down. And a good thing about using your cards or cardboard is that you actually smoosh out some of the air bubbles or wrinkles that sometimes appear when you're using glue. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you get glue over the other side of the page or not, because we're going to put some other stuff down. Okay, so I'm just going to get some scissors. I don't want to tear my picture, obviously, but maybe just make this not quite such a harsh line. I'm going to tear it. Okay. And you don't need to be too precious, but now if you don't want to use a photo of yourself, you could use a photo of a loved one, a friend that you're grateful for. You could even just use a picture out of a magazine. You don't have to use a picture of yourself. But this picture of me isn't going to look much like me by the time I'm finished with it. And that's why I'm not too concerned about the fact that my printer is not printing out great. So I've got lines through it because I'm going to cover all of that. Okay. So I think I'm going to put it first. Here. But first I think I might, before I do that, I might just do some more stuff to the background. That is stuff from my kids' spelling book from school. Yes, if you're a mixed media artist, you throw nothing out. And that includes your kids' school books. Although I have friends, and you know who you are if you're watching, who have saved every single book and piece of artwork since kindergarten. And I just can't have that level of clutter in my house. Even their artwork, you would think as an artist I would actually save all their artwork, but I just can't bear saving the piece of paper that has one scribble on it from preschool that got sent home with me as art, and then I'm expected to do something with it. Why can't the preschool chuck it out? Why do I have to make that decision? So a long time ago I decided to take photos of all of their artworks, and then we would keep maybe 3 or 4 or 10 pieces that they were really happy, proud of, kind of thing, and the rest we would just have as photos. I think I might put maybe I'll put that over the top because I quite like that cute little doodles there from a long time ago. No, I don't think I'll use that one. So I got No, I think I'll maybe keep it a bit simple. Right out. So I'm kind of done with my glue for the minute. So, okay, now I want to do a fairly muted background with maybe some splashes of colour. Yes, this is so so organised, so know what I'm doing. So kind of the aim of this is to try and get it so that it kind of looks like it's one piece. I think I'll just start by putting some gesso down. Yeah. Obviously living in the country and living in a rural suburban street, we have the accompanying chainsaws for our backdrop music today. I'm working fairly quickly because it is hot still, and paint is drying, and this gesso is quite old, so it's a bit lumpy as well, so that's an added extra reason to work quick, because lumpy gesso will dry. Lumpy gesso dries kind of quickly and doesn't look very nice when it's done. That's gross. So I've got a bit of a wet brush now, and I'm just gonna kind of simple. I haven't covered up everything, which is a tendency. Now, I don't know, I'm going to do traditional colours, but this is not going to be black and white when it's done. It's actually going to be coloured and coloured with painted with coloured paints. So I'm not going to keep the black and white sort of tone to it. I'm going to kind of do want to put a bit more just around where I'm going to put her. My face, her face, just so that the blends in a bit more. So I want to add in some colour into this, but I also don't want to take away from the, I like the sort of black and white sepia feel of this. So I have a few, I don't have a lot, but I have a few brightly coloured paints. This fluoro pink, which I love. I've got some tropical water blue, which I also quite like. on. Maybe that might, we might just start with this one. Don't be afraid to get your hands in there and get dirty. And because I've got the gesso down there, I can actually almost put on like a, almost like a glaze if I've got a wet brush. Sort of spreads. Quite easily and quite nicely. I don't know if I wanted to put that up there, but too late. Okay, so we just had a little video snafu in that my phone wasn't charged. So while my phone, I was recording but didn't realize I was not filming. Basically what I've done is I've moved the blue paint over a bit more. I've put some more blue paint around sort of the edges here and dragged it over so it looks more like a cohesive piece. It looks like it's blended together rather than having like quite stark differences between one section and the other section. I was at one point going to add some pink paint as well. Maybe I'll do a little bit and just see what it's like. In the time I was waiting for my phone to have a little bit more charge so that I could get set up again. It appears that we've got concrete trucks and council workers working on, I don't know what they're doing down there, down the end of the street. Down the end of the street is a cul-de-sac and there is a path. It's a very small piece of like squeeze of pink, but it's all clogged up. And again, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Anyway, there's a path that connects our street to the other main street that runs parallel to our street. And there's a bit of a reserve and that kind of stuff down there. So I don't know what they're doing down there. A few years ago it would have been awesome if they had a play park for our kids, but my kids are kind of out of the play park age. I actually quite like that. I don't want a lot of pink though, because this is really bright. Oh, this is so clogged up. But I like the brightness that it gives. And I do want this to be a sort of bright, happy piece. All right, let's get in there with still not very good. Anyway, I'll have to look at that another time. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit pink on this page. And these are bright, happy colours, which I like. I do not wear bright happy colours a lot in my life. I like black or black t-shirts a lot. So that goth, I guess I am a product of my childhood. Just gonna get there we go. Like I said, I don't want to add too much, so I just want to take a little step back a bit. Maybe just darken some of the spots that I've done. There's a fine line between getting your, there's a fine line between too much and just enough. And quite often I'll be on the edge of too much. There we go. I'm not going to touch it anymore. I quite like that. Quite cool. Okay, so if I put that there, yeah, quite like and cool. And what I might even do is when I sort of, I'll come back in with the blue and the pink just to make this sort of come into the background a bit more. Okay, so I'm going to glue my picture down. Again, like I said, you don't have to have a picture of yourself. You can have a picture of your loved one, a friend. You could have a picture from a magazine, picture of your animal, dog or your cat, goldfish, whatever you want to do. I'll make sure there's quite a bit of paint on this. Again, making sure that it's covered, especially the edges. Okay. Right, where did I have it? Just here, I think. Okay. What I'm going to do before I put this down properly is get my card and scrape it down rather than going over after. You can see it's dried on the edges already. Some more there. Okay, so you can kind of see that I've accidentally scraped some blue paint over my face, but that's okay. It's all fine because I'm going to go over it. Now, what I am going to do is use, I have some clear gesso. Now, if you don't have clear gesso, you can do a very thin layer of white gesso, or you could even do a thin layer of like a Mod Podge, or a PVA might be too shiny. So this is clear gesso, which is going to dry clear. It is going to seal in the ink from the printer, because I just used an inkjet printer, so it's not water safe. It is going to, you can see the sort of the way that the paper is reacting to the wet of the gesso. A very attractive blue hue to it. That's okay. Basically what we're doing is just making this a little bit color fast, and which means we'll be able to draw and paint over the top of it very soon, once this is dry, once we get moving. Now this, I don't know if all clear gesso has it, but this is a Liquitex clear gesso, and it's actually quite grainy, which I don't love. So I wouldn't use this as a sealant for like a painting as the final sort of sealant on the painting. I'd use a varnish or something like that instead. Now I just need to wait for this to dry properly, because it's a pain to draw and paint on top of wet gesso. And as you can see, you might be able to see, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of bubbling up a bit here. So, which I do not want. This damn weather. Don't know, I might have to just deal with the bubbles. Still just a little bit wet, and I don't actually care. I might, that's ripped. There we go. That's not on the face, which is what I'm more concerned about. All right, so that's, you can actually hear the grittiness of that. Okay, so we're just waiting for that to dry. And while we're doing that, I might pop that. Trying not to rip too much off, but also get rid of those hard lines. I don't know where this piece of paper is from, where I've just drawn all over it. I imagine it's from a phone call of some sort. That's when I normally do these kind of scribbles. Maybe I'll just use the one, use the other one another day. I'm just going to use a glue stick for this one, mainly because I can't be bothered digging out my Mod Podge and drawing off the brush for this little piece of paper. But glue sticks work just as fine. And as you can see, like I said, it's still really warm. Glue stick's melting. There. And you can get your card. Okay. So that is fairly dry, I think. So I'm just going to get a pencil. And I'm just going to go over the details of my face. And because I'm a big-eyed girly, I am going to accentuate the eyes a bit and make them bigger. I'm also going to take out the obvious wrinkles and double chins because I can. Probably going to make my lips a bit bigger too. So it is going to be quite stylized, which I'm okay about because that's what I'm all about, really. And make the eyebrows a bit more, less wild. My first world problems, the person that I used to go and get my eyebrows done and my legs waxed and all that kind of stuff, she's just closed down, so it's a bit frustrating. So my eyebrows, the reason I'm telling that story is that my eyebrows are very woolly and all over the place. Not there's a lot. I don't have a lot of eyebrows because I'm a brunette. My eyebrows have always been blonde. So there you go. I'm making my eyes bigger, a little bit bigger, not too big, because otherwise it'd look a bit weird, I think. Basically, this is almost like having a sort of tracing type thing, which is kind of cool. I like that too. Hopefully I haven't made my lips look too clowny. Okay. So, my ear. Not sure what I want to do with my hair. But I do have a widow's peak, so I'll keep that in. Quite like my widow's peak. Okay, so my hair. It's kind of up in a very cool ponytail, but kind of looks odd not having any hair. Maybe it looks odd, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit like, let's see if this rubs off. That was not a success. I don't like, sometimes this rubber works really well and then sometimes it is utter crap, but I don't know where my other one is, so. Okay. I'm kind of thinking that I'm just going for like almost like a braid type thing that goes down the back of my hair. Okay, I'm going to make my shoulders just a little bit less. And I might make this just a big necklace maybe. That was my purse that I had to buy especially for the concert because we weren't allowed anything bigger than a A5. Maybe make that a bit smaller. Might even take that out. But anyway, that's where I'm going. Oh, and I also want to keep in the jewels that literally stayed on for 10 minutes before my pre-menopausal body decided to sweat them off. Okay, so now basically we're just going to paint it like it's a pen. So you can do any skin tone you like. If you want to change it, go pink, whatever, that's cool. Absolutely fine. There we go. I try with this color palette, with my palette, I try and keep light colors in the palette. It's a bit mucked up at the minute into the little wells because in the past I've had I'm just looking for maybe that one. In the past I've actually had moments where I've put like blue on top of a black and the black hasn't dried properly or fully, and I've gone to paint and then the black comes through the blue paint, which can be a disaster. I'm just looking for a medium-ish paintbrush with a bit of stiffness to it so I can use it to blend. Let's see, for me that's too soft, whereas this one, it's got a bit of paint in it already, so it's a bit harder. This is a nice brush, this one. It's a Micador one. I really like that paintbrush. I think it's probably not. Okay. So I'm just going to be somewhat careful around going around the jewels, just so I remember where the placement is. I'm not a big, doesn't bother me too much, but if I go over them, that is. But I like for the first sort of Passover, I like to be able to keep areas blocked in. But as you can see, I am not too fast. It looks kind of like I am putting a clay mask on my face, to be honest. Except clay masks are usually whiter. So I'm filming this just before I head off to Wagga for River and Wren. It's my first big market for 2024. I am then going to Sydney to see Pink, which I'm so excited about. Different excited I think I was about seeing Taylor Swift. Probably because I was so excited to see Taylor Swift. Mainly, I do like Taylor Swift. I like her songs. I think she's a brilliant businesswoman. You know, I know everyone is kind of sick of hearing her name at the moment. And, you know, when I'm no exception, you know, it'd be nice, especially because my daughter is obsessed with her and everything she does. It'd be nice to have a little break. But I love Pink. I've loved Pink for years. I've tried to get Pink before, never managed to get tickets. She puts on heaps of shows in Australia, but they're always almost all sold out. I just didn't expect to get tickets, but I got in. Like, she just released a brand new show in March in Sydney, and I happened to be in the right place at the right time. That is in front of my computer, just as the email came in. I don't know, yeah, see if I can get some tickets. And I have no idea what the section's like. I have no idea what the view will be like. but I'm really excited about going to pink. And so I've got River and Wren, which I'm excited about going back to Wagga. I haven't been there since, I think, August last year. I had conflicting markets on, so I couldn't make it. So I'm excited about this year, in that I know that Emma, who runs River and Wren, has been in touch with Handmade in Canberra, and they've made it so that their dates don't conflict, which is amazing, because I think 3 of Handmade's dates were the same weekend as River and Wren's, which made it really tricky to make a decision. And I love Wagga. 1,000 years ago, I went to university in Wagga. Well, it feels like 1,000 years ago. So I do love going back to Wagga, and not that I do a lot. I literally arrive, set up, work, come home. But I like the vibe that it has. I always have liked it. Yeah. So that's the first 2 weeks of March, and then of course Easter is the last weekend of March, which is a bit early this year, so I'm scrambling a little bit just to figure out if I'm going to offer any Easter stuff. I've probably left it too late, as usual, to do any true Easter stuff, but I don't know. I have to get my head around the fact that I have to do Christmas prep, and that is making Christmas stuff in June, and probably June is too late, but I cannot bear to do it any earlier. And I remember one year I did Christmas cards. I was really organized. I did them early, and it was great, but the only way I got into the mood to actually do these Christmas cards was to binge Christmas movies and read Christmas romance novels. And when you live in Australia, and even June, you know, June's still pretty hot. Not hot, but I do remember when I lived in the UK, I would ring up and I would talk to my dad, and my dad would be like, "Oh, it's nice day here today. It's 13 degrees." And I'd be like, "It's summer here and I'm in shorts, and it's 13 degrees." So it's all relative, really. Yeah, so it's not a snowy Christmas here by any, winter here by any means. And I think the last time we had snow, my kids were like tiny baby type things. Infants, I think the big girls were in infants school. So, yeah, kindergarten, year 1, year 2 kind of thing. That was the last time I remember it snowing here. And the time before that, I think, I feel like they said it was 30 years since, like, since it had snowed, and that would have put me here as a kid. So, as their age. God, so it does not snow here. We get, we're in a valley, so we are not high enough up to get real snow. But towns around us do get snow. So we can go visit, and we are the lucky people in the valley who get the wind chill from the snowfields. So it's often bitterly cold here. Anyway, the reason I'm telling this story is that sometimes it's not. Sometimes we have a really mild winter, and sometimes we don't even get our jackets out. In fact, sometimes like last winter, I wouldn't have said it was a particularly cold winter, although there were some cold moments. And there was, we would go and watch the girls play netball, and I'd be in t-shirts because I was so hot. So anyway, and the reason I'm still telling this story, gosh, sorry for my rambling. The reason that I'm telling you the story is because when I'm trying to paint and do Christmas things, it is really, really hard to get in the mood for Christmas. And it's not just about watching movies and playing music or reading Christmassy books. It is literally just too warm sometimes to get in the mood, you know. And I don't have a log fire. I mean, it'd be amazing if I had a log fire. I could curl up in front of, play some Christmas music. I don't know, put some pine essence in a diffuser to have the smell of Christmas. And then my kids get all confused too, because when they were little, they're like, oh, it's Christmas. I'm like, no, no, Mama's just doing research. Sorry. Okay, so that's my first layer. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding extra bits. So shadow, some, that's the wrong, that was the wrong one I wanted. Not normally this savvy with my paint, but I have very little of this color left, which is the skin tone base, and it's going to be a while, and I know I could buy it online, but I'm also trying to not spend lots of money, which means like I don't know, I'm just being crazy. I'm just trying to that's the one I wanted. So this is like an antique white. Yeah, so I'm doing this thing. Okay. Right, so I'm putting in more detail, more shadows, that kind of stuff. So we'll start up at the top again. So I'm kind of going where the shadow light typically sort of hits the face. If you're big into makeup, it's kind of all the areas that you put contour, you go light, and all this, highlighter, is that right? Highlighter, you go lighter, and all the areas that you put contour, you go darker. That simple, really. And one might think that being an artist translates over to doing good makeup, but it really doesn't. My kids are amazing at it though, so I need to get them give me some pointers. And actually my my eldest got given a makeup lesson from one of the beauticians in town, and she kind of went, but I know what to do with my makeup, so this is not really it's not really like, you know, something that I'm going to use. And I'm like, oh, but she's a dancer, so I'm like, well, maybe you can go and just have them talk about some like stage makeup and help you with that a bit, because she does get really anxious, or used to, not anymore so much, used to get really anxious before concerts and performances about doing her stage makeup. And there have been moments, I have 3 dancers, and there are moments when I have had all 3 of them in fits of tears before a concert, because they're super anxious, one, but because something's not going right, and it might just be there's a hair out of place, and I don't have that. I don't have that level of, I don't know, that level of detail, or that level of I'm trying to say, I don't have the, it's not the empathy or anything like that, it's just that I've never had to have my hair perfectly put in place, and I have curly hair, so again, I don't have a choice, my hair does what it wants. So, and also when I was a kid in the 80s, we didn't have all this, you know, amazing stuff. My hair, curly hair now is so much easier to like style and buy product for than it ever was when I was a kid. You know, curly hair was the death sentence. And it wasn't like, you know, permed hair was amazing because permed hair would just sit in the curls. You didn't have to worry about it. Whereas my hair one day would be curly as, and then the next day would be all over the place. One day it looked amazing and the next day it was just like, pull it in a ponytail. I mean, that's curly hair anyway. One day it looks beautiful and the next day it looks like shit. So. Okay. Quite liking how this is looking at the minute. And you could do this in a more of a caricature style, like so do like massively big rosy cheeks or super exaggerated features. That would be kind of cool too. I'm quite liking doing just a little bit of exaggeration and doing just, you know, making my features just a little bit more refined or a little bit more, a little bit bigger as I'm aging. My lips are no longer as thin. You can do whatever you want. You could give yourself Botox if you want to and give yourself big luscious lips. Or you could do true to your picture and just do like as is. Okay. I really don't want to exaggerate my sort of dimple smile part there, but I also want to keep it in a bit. I quite like my dimple. Even though my gran, when I was younger, I used to go, oh, I've got dimples like you, gran. She goes, oh, they'll just turn into wrinkles, darling, as you get older. I'm like, oh, thanks. She did not like her dimples. So To get that colour, I've just added a little bit of raw umber to my skin tone base. So it's kind of just making a little bit, the umber not as dark as it is, lightening it up a bit so that the shadows sort of blend a little bit in with the rest of the thing, painting picture. She's really liking this, how it's looking at the minute. Probably get too much pink on my nose there. So just go back in. Okay, so with the antique white that I've got, which is it's a nice transparent type of paint. It's a Kaisercraft, and most of the Kaisercraft paints I have are sort of a transparent paint, which means that they, when you layer them down, you can see the whatever's behind it come through. So you can see, even though it's not super dark and I've watered it down, you can you'll see the background area. So that was a Kaisercraft one that I used there. But this antique white is really great for highlights. I like it a lot, and I try and use it sparingly because I actually haven't seen a Kaisercraft. They used to be around everywhere back when the scrapbooking, back when scrapbooking was massive. So again, that's another one that I'd have to look up online. Cool. I'm actually very, very happy with that. I sound very surprised, I know, but I'm very happy with that. Okay, so I always paint every part of the skin that I have in my painting at the same time, because I have learnt that sometimes when you are painting and you come back like another day and finish off the body, it feels really disconnected from the actual the rest of the body. And it could just be the way that I've painted it, it could be the particular brushes that I've used on the day, it could be the different types of paints that I've blended in and used to get what I want. I have, you know, sometimes I'm really happy with the face, but the hands will be really dark and they don't match the body, the rest of the face and that kind of stuff. So, so my rule is that if I'm painting something, painting a person, let's try and get some of this paint out before I start talking. When I'm painting people, I always paint every exposed piece of body that I have, and sometimes I'm not sure about what is going actually on the body per se, like clothing wise and that kind of thing, I will actually just paint them as if they're naked, and then put the layer of the clothes over the top, because then I don't have to worry about if I decide that that dress is going to have a you know, an off the shoulder effect, or you know, or something like that, and now I have to paint in the skin that I've not done, and then it always looks different. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me. And I'm sure there's a way you can store acrylics so that they don't dry, but it's not something that I've really investigated. And sometimes I think this is what I would have actually learnt if I'd gone to art school, this kind of stuff, but I didn't, and I haven't. So I just make it up as I go along, and that, you know, it's part of me that goes, actually, I really appreciate the fact that I didn't go to art school, because I'm not bound by rules. I don't have a certain mindset about how I'm supposed to do something, so I quite appreciate the fact that I don't have limits that way. But by the same token, people really do look down, not all people, some people really look down on those who have been self-taught, and can be quite judgmental, and also quite awful about it, which I have a real problem with. And actually there are galleries that won't even look at my work because I am self-taught. And also I do stylized portraits of you know, featuring big eyes, and although there's very famous artists who did do paint big eyes, it's not the same, and also people see it as a bit cartoony, and you know, they have a point maybe, but I have tried painting things that I don't enjoy painting, and this is the style I like painting. And I also believe that there's a lot of emotion and a lot of story can be shown through my paintings. So I don't care. That's not true, but I'm less now, being at least 10 years, over 10 years into it, my journey. I actually don't really don't care as much. Okay, let's do my eyes now. Again, you can do true to form. You can change them up. If you've always wanted blue eyes and have brown eyes, then give yourself some blue eyes. This is not, it doesn't have to reflect you, or the person that you're, you know, your friend or whatever, doesn't have to reflect them as true to form. It can just be the thought behind it. Now I have green eyes. I'm looking for my green that I like. And well, I have hazel eyes, so they're a bit brown, they're a bit blue, and they're a bit green. Very little blue, but I can see it. So nani na, all those people who told me I had brown eyes, I don't. Pine green, what's green? Antique green, here we go. This is the green I like, this antique green. Okay, I also am going to keep, these were green gems, so I am going to keep them green, but they were more like a minty colour, not pine, maybe a bit mossy. No, that's the wrong tone. There might go. Okay. So one of the most satisfying things is to paint this with like a clear glue, not PVA. PVA doesn't work, but Mod Podge works really well. And then just peel off. It cleans it, and you just get the satisfaction of peeling off all the delicious. Okay, my eyes. Now remember, we're doing them a bit bigger. And it's interesting when you start sort of painting yourself and you sort of pay attention to your details a bit more. It's interesting what kind of comes out. How you feel about it and that kind of stuff, and how you might modify it. And you become very clinical about how you look. You stop looking at it as like you stop judging. What I like about this style of this method of painting is you actually stop judging your face. You start looking at shadows and light. You start, you don't go, oh, I have absolutely no eyebrows whatsoever. You just go, oh, there's the arch, and there's the you know, this is where the brows would sit, and this is the color of your eyes, and it doesn't matter that you don't have hooded eyes, like you have hooded eyes, that your eyes are just your eyes. Okay. Now this looks a bit weird, I know. But that's okay, because this is just the first. I'm not going to bother with the all the, because they were like diamante type things. I'm not going to bother with all the facets. I just want to give an impression of jewels. And I probably have I might use some pencils and stuff in this. I also am conscious that I don't want this to be super long. I'm trying to keep these to a time of 2 hours most. So sometimes that means we might have to speed some stuff up. But I did like how the jewels looked. Made me feel very sparkly. And the fact that my kids did it too was quite cool. So yeah, we had a flying visit to Melbourne. We had a accommodation crisis halfway down. So it's a 7-hour drive with no stops. But it is I wouldn't say it's the most boring, but it is one of the straightest, longest roads I've ever driven in my life. So we were driving into Albury, and I knew there was a stop nearby, so I was going to stop. And we had a phone call from this place in Melbourne, and I was like, oh, it's probably just a scammer. I had been getting scammy calls all week, but I also had noticed that when we had been driving through the country, we didn't have any reception, that I had a missed call from this number, and that it wasn't, they didn't leave a message. Anyway, I was like, oh, that's weird, and probably is just a scammer, but something told me to answer the phone. So I answered it, and we're driving along. It's me and the girls. We didn't take Mac with us, and we spent the first couple of hours of the drive were really cool and relaxed and whatever. Anyway, I don't know why I decided to pick up this call. I just did. Something told me to pick it up, and thank God I did, because when I picked it up, they were like, oh, hello, this is your accommodation, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Your accommodation's been cancelled. What? So anyway, I'm like, I am in the middle of the freeway. I don't have my wallet with me. I need to pull over. I need to also, I have been getting scammy calls all week from Melbourne numbers. I need to check that you're legit. So anyway, we're near a service centre, so we stopped off. I've got children hyperventilating in the back seat because what? I have heard of people losing accommodation, and I'm like, okay, I know it's not ideal, but I know I have options. I didn't want to stay in the city because it was thousands of dollars, but you know, if we needed to, we could do that. We could stay in the city. Not no problem, but okay, we can figure this out. No big deal. Anyway, I booked it through a accommodation app. I checked the app, it said cancelled. I'm like, okay, so it's legit being cancelled. What the heck? Anyway, long story short, we ended up ringing back and saying, well, you know, it said that we could pay on arrival, and she's like, well, it's a very big weekend, you know. And like, yeah, I know. I've got 3 kids. We're halfway to Melbourne right now. What the what? Anyway, he's like, well, I can't give you your room because I've cancelled. You know, you cancelled the booking. The money wasn't there. Oh, so backstory, a bit of a backstory about that. Just if you need to know, even though it said that I could book on pay on arrival, they also have the right, according to the fine print, which of course I didn't read thoroughly, to charge you for your room anytime within a 48-hour period of your arrival, of your date, which is fine, you know. Like, it was literally that just at the time of booking, which was just before Christmas, I didn't have any money for accommodation in Melbourne. But I knew the cost was coming up. I had to put money aside, all good, whatever. But, so they have the right to take out money 48 hours ahead of time. They use the credit card that you have on file, which I just use a credit card that doesn't have a huge a card that doesn't have access to a lot of money, because I have been scammed before and have lost money. All of, you know, I did everything right, they did everything right. The only thing that I didn't have was the money sitting in that account 48 hours before, and they decided that morning to take the money out as we were traveling over. And had I thought about it, I could have put money over. It would have been fine. So anyway, I'm talking to him and I'm about to lose my shit. The girls in the back are about to lose their minds. I've got my middle kid in the front seat next to me, desperately trying to find my wallet and my credit cards and juggle my apps to see what's been going on. We pull into a service station, we're talking to this guy and he's like, no, we can't give you that room. We can give you a room with 2 queen beds. And I'm like, well, you know, I had booked for 5, so Mac wasn't coming, so that was good, that was fine. Okay, and how is it going to cost me the same? And he goes, well, actually that room is normally cheaper, but because it's a very important weekend, I'll give it to you for the same price. I'm like, okay, thank you. So for the next 10 minutes we're at the service stop having some lunch, and I am frantically checking my phone to see that he's taken. Oh, he said, oh, and I'll ring you back, you know, if there's any problems. Okay. So I'm checking frantically that the money's been taken out. Finally, after like 10 minutes, the money's gone. He's taken it out. It's legit. It's gone to the accommodation that we're staying at. There's no extra money taken out or anything like that. So we haven't been scammed, all the things. Everything was legit. So a huge sigh of relief, but you know, that kind of stuff just sort of puts you on edge. And then we get a phone call from the property again, and I'm like, oh, no, I can't deal with this. My eldest, who is our Swiftie, is losing her mind in the backseat of the car, holding her breath, going, oh my God, what's next? What's now? But it was just another lovely person. They're all very lovely there. They were very nice. Saying, oh, we're just checking when you're arriving, because if it's after 6, then you just need to ring reception and we'll, you know, we'll come down and we'll book you in. I'm like, oh, no, we should be there about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Nope, no problem. All good, blah, blah, blah. And for the next 4 hours, 4 hours, we were driving, and because we were listening to the music on my through my Bluetooth, every time my phone paused, whether it be because I was receiving a text or you know, a notification or something like that, the music would pause, and we all held our breath every single time because we thought for sure there was something going on with the accommodation. But so the accommodation was you know, it was fine. It was basic accommodation. It could have been much worse. So we're very, very lucky. Very, 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 very lucky that all worked out. Okay. And, I need to stop in a minute and get some lunch, but I need to think about what I want to do for my hair and for my... I mean, there's part of me that's tempted just to leave my hair the way it is, because I kind of like it like that, kind of matches it, but also I don't necessarily want to do that either. And so I've got this colour which I really like, that's French blue, and I'm thinking for my t-shirt. But also I've got that Payne's grey. And this is going to be a little bit tricky because I want it to sort of bleed into the page, and I want the page to be into the thing, but I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to achieve that. And it's a black t-shirt that I was wearing, so it has to be kind of dark, because otherwise it'll take layers. Even though I put the gesso over the top, it's still going to take a few layers to cover that up. Now let me just see. Oh, I quite like that blue. Okay, I think I'm going to do that one. Okay. Here we go. Now, my French blue, I don't know if this is this one or no, this is the newer one. For some reason, hasn't actually been mixed properly in the actual paint tube, which is really interesting. And every now and then, it ends up with red streaks through it, which is even more interesting. But if I mix it before, it's fine. So this is going to be very simple. I'm just doing the t-shirt. I'm not going to necessarily do any designs on it. If I was doing this as a project for something else, I might do that. I'm going to get my tropical water. Put a little bit of that. Okay, let's experiment. Yeah, so as I was saying, I might actually do some, might have actually done some other like detail on the top, and I don't know that I was planning on not going up as high, but I think I'm not going to be able to cover that up, so I'm going to have to go all the way up to the top of the shirt line that I cut out. If I'd thought about that before, I would have actually cut that out. Cut it off before I glued it down. But like I said at the beginning, I had no idea what this is going to be like and whether or not it's going to work. Okay, so here's where I'm not sure how it's going to work. I'm just going to bit rough around the edges. Yeah, I think that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this side too. I need a little bit of water on that. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, But this is what I was talking about with the red streak, like, because somehow it wasn't mixed properly in the tube, and yeah, comes out. Okay. Kind of like this. Let's water that down a little bit and just have it so it kind of fades into the page a little bit more. It seemed a bit. I shouldn't be using this brush to scrub that stuff, just because it's a good brush and I don't want to wreck it. Okay, let's do some more of the other side too. Kind of looks like I'm fading into some water or something, but I think I'm okay with this. Yeah. Yep, I like it. I'm liking it so far. Get some of that blue from the beginning and just cover this up. I like when you glue things down, sometimes I like when the background is sort of splotchy like this is here, and that's just from the glue stick. Okay, that looks a bit. Okay, and now I'm going to blend in some of this lighter blue with the French blue. Again, don't know if this is going to work the way I think it will. There we go. I think I'm going to use some water and just blend it in a bit more here. Maybe making it just a little bit. Yeah. Cool. Now let that dry. I'm going to get some lunch and we'll get up. I'm just thinking about what I want to do with the hair. I need to, so a little bit left on, most of the paint's dried up from my break, but should be just up there. Yeah, so I think I kind of feel like this is, hair is kind of going up into like a almost a bun type. Hopefully this looks all right, because otherwise it's not gonna actually come off. The pencil's not gonna come off very easily. I think that's okay. It'll just sort of come out as a messy bun, which is kind of what my hair was anyway. Because it was too hot to wear it down. And I just want to get a little bit of pink while I'm thinking about it. Oh, such a mess. Which would be why it wasn't coming out easily. That's a problem for another day. So I'll just wipe some of that off. Okay, I like that. I like that it's integrating the front and the back, the foreground and the background sort of together, bringing it all together, making it look a bit more cohesive. Yeah. That blue's not actually doing anything. So light and transparent. Little bits, you can see little bits. I am really just procrastinating at the moment because I need to make a decision about my hair. So my hair is brown, but it is also quite blonde because I had dyed to get rid of the greys. So actually my hair is grey. It's blonde with some brown bits in it. So, but like I said, not true. I don't care about being true to form so much, but it does make it simpler if I just keep with my hair color-ish. So let me just go with a sand color. And let's go with this raw umber. And what else do I want to put in it? Blonde is very tricky to paint. True blonde. It's got all, it's like a bit like brown and it's a bit like red. Or hair color really. I don't know why I'm singling those out. They all have different colors in them. They're not just, it's not just red. It's brown and it's blonde and it's everything. What else am I going to use? Maybe I'll put some antique white out. And while I don't necessarily want to make my hair the same, I kind of like the light streaks or the lighter streaks in it, so I'm going to get a brush, very small brush. That hopefully isn't wrecked. So I think I mentioned this in the last video, I'm not sure, but I use nail brushes for super duper fine tips. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, let's dig in. So this might be too blonde. So I'll get some beige. It's all very similar. Okay, let's just. Isn't it slightly a bit like paint by numbers in that you can kind of see where the dark is, which is nice. Kind of ashamed that I've done that first section already, because I kind of like the way this kind of is sitting. So, okay, I'm quite liking that. I'm quite liking that sort of sketchy look. I wasn't ever actually going to do a proper paint hair thing, but I like this. So what I've done is, from memory, I've gotten my raw umber and sort of come in from the back with that. This is probably true-ish to my actual natural hair color when I was younger, because it's certainly not that color now. So I'm just going to go in, and I might even go down a bit. Do this one too. Okay. And then I've gone for the sand. And my brush is relatively dry on this one, so it's sort of a bit and I'm not smoothing out the edges, so I'm just letting the brush strokes just sort of be the strands of hair, which I'm quite enjoying. I did have a bit of beige in there, so I'm going to put that in there. Not a lot, because it kind of looks not real, which is funny. And then I'll get my antique white and come in over the very top. Yeah, I'm actually very happy with that. Okay, let's do it again. Let's make this up the top. Okay, so the raw umber. And then the sand. And then the antique. And my brush is a little bit wetter than before, and I can kind of tell because it's not doing the exact same effect, but I'm happy with that nonetheless. Put a bit more. And you probably have noticed I don't actually wash my brush a lot in between if I'm doing things like hair or eyes or skin and introducing a new color. I don't tend to wash my brush out while I'm doing it between each color. I'm going to wash it out now because the bristles are getting probably see separated, and the paint is drying out because I think I probably mentioned it 1,000 times, and I'm really sorry. It is hot. It's hot here. But I'm going to make sure my brush is quite dry before I put more paint on it. Okay, so this is the bun part, and I don't want to cover all of the background. Again, trying to keep some of it coming through, so it's not like a solid lump of paint being put down on the paper. And that kind of gives it the feeling of it being I guess a messy bun. Hair has holes in it too, that you can see through. I'm only really taking my time around the edges of my body and my ear there. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, sand. A little bit of beige. Okay. It's not quite as seamless as I'd hoped, but okay. Maybe if I add in some little. Okay, now this time I'm going to make sure my brush is quite wet. I'm not going to dry it off very much, except just to dry off the end part of it where it collects water. And then I'm just going to roll it in my paint. Make sure there's no stray hairs. And then I'm just going to do some stray, like sort of stray hair. because no one's hair is that perfect. I'm just dumping it into the sand colour. Dip it in, not really washing it off, but just making it wet again. Wiping off the ends. You can see there that it's got a stray hair where I haven't dried it in form again. And then the reason I'm doing this is because it just gives a bit of texture, a bit of movement. Cool. Right. I think I'm just not gonna, I'm not gonna fuss about it. I'm not gonna worry about it. It's just a journal page. It's not, it doesn't have to be perfect. But my art is generally not perfect anyway. All right. I just realized then that I haven't done my eyebrows. It could also get, if you wanted to, just a fine brush and just dip it in. Oops, it's probably too, that's too blonde. We'll cover that one up. And I want to get rid of that little, oops, make sure I clean my brush off. Hopefully it's not drying that quick. Oh. There we go. Not too late. Cool. I actually really like this. I'm very happy with this. So this was coming down here. I just had a thought maybe I could just let it just fade away. And it could be as simple as a white and black. Don't know. I kind of like the way that it's all very half. As in like it's sort of fading away into the background. Let me see what I've got here. I've got, it's gold. Good gold work. kind of do want some bling because I'm actually not going to do anything on the dress, the t-shirt, except for whatever I end up, the outline and that kind of stuff. So and actually, if I get my paintbrush, while this is wet, and then I can just drag it down. Kind of fades off. Which I quite like, yes, but what am I going to do on it? Okay, I'm really stumped about what to do there. Oh. Maybe it's as simple as doing a black and gold, because I quite like the pattern on it. That's the problem that's stumping me. Is I quite like the pattern on it. I'm not sure about this, but I'm going with it, and I don't, as I always say, I don't hate it. I'm kind of growing on me. But I mean, if you've watched any of my other videos, previous videos, you'll know that I go, I don't hate this, and then I tend to paint over it. But I suppose it's just the brain sort of working through the problem, isn't it? Well, that's what I'm going to say. It's my brain working through the problem. I kind of want to taper it off now because I don't want. And actually, I'm going to do with the pen. Oh. I want to talk about how hot it is, but it's like when everything sticks, that's what irritates me. Hasn't quite got the fading away feeling that I was after. I have to think about that one. I have to think about that, but I also have just realised I haven't finished my eyes. That works. I've got these these are Copic markers, Copic multi-liners, and they're really great pens until you use them over wet paint, and then they don't work so well. But the paint should be dried enough. That it's not going to be a problem. And they've got replaceable nibs and cartridges, so they're expensive to buy, but they're really good pens. And they and the fact that you can just buy ink refills and nib replacements is great, because I've trashed a lot of pens. every time I go to the art shop, I buy a new marker. And so these ones I've got, and then I also really like these ones here, but I can't seem to find my one. But I know I had it the other day. Oh, here it is there. Hiding. So, because the nib's going on that one, so I have to replace it. So I just want a cleaner. Oh. I'm a bit scared to put in the pupil now. Should have done it earlier. Yep. Okay, so just do some outlines on this. Still not sure about that necklace-y type thing, but again, this is just practice trying new things, playing, that kind of thing. So I've just done a little sort of sketchy outline around the jewels. I don't want a hard outline around them. I'm quite happy with how they are. I'm going to get a little bit of black paint though to do the irises, pupils even, because I find that the paint, sometimes when I use pen, it has a shiny feel to it that I don't like. That I don't like, especially if I'm photographing it. Just, it's shiny and the rest of it's not, it's matte. These look really weird just now. I'm hoping that when I add some highlights and stuff, they won't be quite so weird. Weird. Or maybe I should have, oh, actually, sit still. Sometimes, rather than doing solid black, I'll do black with a bit of the eye colour thrown on top, so it doesn't look quite so stark. So, although that black has dried so quick. No. I think I've mucked up the outline of that too, so I'll just wait for them to dry, which won't take long. Won't take long. Okay, now I'm going to get my super small pen. Hopefully its nib works. Yep. And I'm just going to do the lips, the crease of the lips. And the little divot, and just underneath it. And then just define a little bit of definition on the nostril. Not too much, because I don't want to make it a big gaping obvious hole. Just more of a suggestion. Okay, fixed up that heart. They're going to be weird anyway because they are on other sides. And I think probably one. I think what's bothering me about that eye is that it's sort of tilted up at the corners, which it did, but cool. I think I'm done. Now, gratitude. It was all about gratitude. This is supposed to be, this is a painting about gratitude, how grateful I am. I was going to add some background elements. I'm not sure that I'm going to. Put some, I mean, I think anything else would just be, maybe that looks kind of like, that could be kind of cool. Maybe not dragonflies. These are the stickers. I have no idea where I got them. Somewhere in my travels. Oh, I like that. I like it. Yeah. I think I like the butterfly. I'm not sure about the purple butterfly though. I think I have got butterflies somewhere. Let me just check. Oh, the blue butterfly. I'll see if I can find a link for these stickers. Okay. And I actually, no, another one. That one. Because it's kind of got the same colours. It's the same one. And that was the purple one I had. No, not the green one. I feel like these might have been for windows. See, that's a pretty one too. So not the purple. Not that one. Maybe the purple. Oh, look, that's, well, that's just clear. No, I'll save that one for another clear one. Nope. I think I vetoed that one already. Nose. It's a light blue one. It's kind of got the distressed feel about it. Okay, so that one's a no. 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 Oh, that's a maybe. Okay, so I've got 3 possibilities. I don't think that yellow one's any good. No. Okay, so I like that one. It's a bit distressed. It's kind of cool, but it's a bit small. Okay, no. So I want the bigger one. I like this one that you can see through it. Done. Done. Okay, and the other thing I want to do is I have these things from when I do my gratitude paintings, and I think I want to do, this is a gratitude. I have an abundance of gratitude. put that up the top there. I need to get my glue. I need to put some of the, when it dries, blue paint over the top of it so it'll blend in. I would normally put it down the bottom, I think, but I feel like there's a lot going on down there and not a lot going on at the top. So I'm gonna put that up here. And I have gratitude, and I am so grateful for my life just now. And the whole part of the gratitude practice is just allowing gratitude in, learning to live in gratitude and not fear or lack or scarcity, which I was doing for a while there. Now, I think from memory, I might have trimmed this up last time I used it. Oh, come on. I even have the long nails. Okay. But I don't know if I care. Enough. See, I could put it. Now I'm gonna have to figure out. Put it there, and that kind of covers up that. Which I think I'm going to do. Done. So that's not quite such of a mess. And the only thing I'm not a huge fan of with these stickers is that they're shiny. So I'm just going to get my little card and just squish it in. But I won't see that after a while. Now, what I will see is this. So let's get tropical water, just a little dab, not a lot needed. Wet brush. There we go. I'm really happy with that. I'm happy with how it turned out. The paint over, I love paint overs. They're so much fun. But this is probably the best paint over I've ever done. Oh, I haven't finished. I thought I'd finished. I want to do just a few little sparkly, because they're jewels. And otherwise they just look like, maybe they still do, green peas stuck on. So I'm just doing little random dots. They might still look like peas, but I know what they are, and that's all that matters. So don't care. Don't care. Yeah, really, really happy with how this has turned out. Especially since I had no clue what I was doing when I first started. I had an idea and I wasn't sure it'd all come together, but I'm really, really happy. I hope that you have enjoyed this paint session with me. I hope that you've painted along with me. I'm hoping also it's not 4 hours long. So that's my so there we go. I have an abundance of gratitude. Yeah, I do. I have an abundance of gratitude. And I really like this piece. Normally I'd be tempted to do some black scribble writing. I don't know if I've got any that I can show you. Sort of like up here how I've done that, some journaling, that kind of thing. But to be honest, I'm quite happy with how it, I don't think I've got any others. No. I'm quite happy with how this has turned out. I'm quite happy with how the background has blended together. I'm really happy with how the paint over went. Considering I haven't done paint overs for a long time, this was one of the best that I've done. I'm probably just going to be sitting here tweaking it a bit. Just realised that I hadn't outlined my ear. I don't think it matters though, and I don't really need to outline anything in this one because of the way that I painted over it. So it kind of has its own outlines that I don't need to, it's like a nice soft, you can see here, nice soft outline that I don't have to really go over. I'm happy I chose the butterfly that sort of fixed up this problem I was having here with this necklacey thing. Yeah, I'm really happy, especially considering I didn't have a plan when I first started. I had a general idea, I had a concept, and I wasn't quite sure how it was going to all pull together. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this paint with me. Art date, yet to be renamed session. And if you have paint alongside of me, if you've done this alongside of me, please share your pictures with me. Even if you just email me your picture at hello@LilliBeanDesigns.com. LilliBean Designs is all one word, lowercase, to share with me your creations. I'd love to see what you're creating, and you know, just take a leap. If you're not sure about something, you know, feel free to ask me questions. I will bring them up in, you know, upcoming art sessions. Yeah, anyway, have a fantastic March, and I'll be back next month with a new art date. I have a list of what I am doing this year, and for the life of me I cannot remember what it was going to be, but something fun, something mixed media, something about smushing paint and all that kind of stuff. As usual, there is a supplies list that you can download, and if you want to be kept updated about all the happenings, what's going on in the studio, what the plans are, what's going on, then maybe consider joining my community email. It's got some great freebies in there too, if you're not already on there. Yeah, anyway, I'll see you next month.